A rural hospital here in southern Wisconsin recently just celebrated 125 years in the community. And we've got a great team of panelists to talk about some of the changes that have happened, but also what remains the same here. We're going to be joined by Travis Baumgarten, Public Relations Assistant, Dr. Timothy Bielen, VP and Chief Medical Officer, Natty Krantz, Registered Nurse, Jim O'Keefe, President and CEO from Mile Bluff Medical Center here in Mauston. I'm Justin Riley, and this is Wisconsin Doctors. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. Mile Bluff Medical Center is celebrating 125 years here in Juneau County, and I'm so excited because we've assembled a great team of panelists here who are going to talk to us a little bit more about that. Welcome everybody, and thanks for having us here today. It looks like we have all first-timers except for Dr. Bielen. What are you, a fourth-timer or a fifth-timer now?
I think it's four now.
You're in the four-timers club.
So
okay.
People must be getting used to seeing my face.
There you go. There you go. Not a bad thing. So, but Travis Baumgarten, thank you for for being with us here today. You're our public relations assistant. You've sort of become the historian here for Mile Bluff Medical Center. Give us a background of when and how Mile Bluff got its start, and how it's changed in the first 125 years.
Well, at least historian over the last week or so as we've been celebrating 125 years. But yeah, it goes back to 1893 when Dr. James Samuel Hess Sr. moved to Mauston and set up an office downtown and was a physician and surgeon and really served the area well for about 20 years in that office building. But then he realized the need for an actual hospital building in the area. So he actually bought a store building downtown and remodeled it into what became the first hospital in Mauston. And as time went on, it was about 1923, he realized, okay, we need a brand new building, one that's bigger, that meets more needs for the community, we can add more services. So he actually sold the shares to the local farmers and businessmen to build a brand new building, which was the Mauston Hospital right across the street from the original building.
Wow.
So yeah, that was in 1923 already. And then 1935, he retired after 42 years of serving the community, and then he passed it on to his son, Dr. J.S. Hess Jr., who carried on his father's legacy of caring for the community until he retired in 1959. So at that point, he decided, okay, sell the hospital. The city of Mauston actually purchased it for a whopping $140,000 at the time.
What a steal.
Yeah, so the city of Mauston took it over. A couple of years later, they actually renamed it Hess Memorial Hospital at that time in honor of the founder, Dr. Hess. Mm-hmm. A couple of years later, Hess Memorial Hospital Incorporated formed, and they actually took it over from the city at that point. And they, again, felt the need that they needed more space. So they had a huge addition onto the original building in 1963. And over time, they've always changed with what the needs of the community were. And one of the things at the time was nursing for the elderly population. So part of the old hospital building actually became a nursing home at that point. But then again, a couple decades later, takes us up to like 1980. And again, with times changing, more needs were needed in the healthcare community. And they kind of realized that their current building, for one, with the new fire codes that were coming around at that time, it was harder to keep the old building up to date. And then also just the flow of service through the care, it was tough to do in that old building. Right. So they built a brand new facility, and that's where we are today here at Mile Bluff Medical Center in Mauston at the current location. The doors opened in 1981. And even over the past 30 plus years, a lot has changed. 1996, we had a 54,000 square foot addition onto the hospital. 2001, we had the brand new surgery wing, which was constructed. And then, of course, Mile Bluff has even grown from just a hospital into 2 nursing and rehabilitation centers, the clinic, 4 outreach medical centers, retail pharmacy, as well as the senior living apartment complex that we have as well. So it started from, the small practice with Dr. Hess in 1893, and now it's grown to what is Mile Bluff today.
That's incredible. What an incredible story of change and growth over 125 years. Dr. Bielen, we have just about a minute left in this particular segment, but I know that you see things sort of from a physician's standpoint. So what are some things that stick out in your mind in the last 125 years?
Well, although everyone thinks that I was here for 125 years, I have not been here that long. long. But I have been here for 27 years, and so I was privileged to meet some of the people who came even right after World War II. I met Dr. Vern Griffin, and really Dr. Griffin had some wonderful stories. One of the things I remember was he increased prices 100%. He increased his office visits from $1 to $2.
Oh, wow.
But Dr. Griffin was a wonderful physician who really did lots of things for the community, even did home births and those kind of things. He was a surgeon as well, and really with him and Jack Strong and some of the others, they really established the practice here.
Very, very cool. Well, we're going to take a short break here, but when we come back, we're going to continue talking about the first 125 years here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, and in general, where healthcare, both rurally and nationally, is going. So don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Doctors coming up after the break. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We are here at Mile Bluff Medical Center in Mauston, which recently turned 125 years young, which is so cool. And we've been having a great conversation. We've learned a little bit about the history of how it came to be here in Juneau County. And now, Travis, I want to jump to you and just mention, you guys chose to celebrate Mile Bluff's 125th year anniversary during National Hospital Week. But you've renamed it here to Mile Bluff Celebration Week. So talk to us a little bit about what is National Hospital Week, and then what you guys did to celebrate here at Mile Bluff.
Well, certainly National Hospital Week, dates back almost a century now, back to 1921 when President Warren G. Harding initiated it. And it was actually National Hospital Day at the time. And they picked May 12th in honor of famed nurse Florence Nightingale, and that was her birthday. And of course, she kind of set the standard initially for hospital quality back in the 1800s. And President Harding, set aside the day. It was kind of in the wake of the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic. So it was kind of to build trust again in the city's hospitals, as well as to educate people on healthcare in their community and really the healthcare issues at the time. And so it wasn't until 1953 that it evolved and expanded into what we know now as National Hospital Week. And so it just gave the hospitals more time to educate the public on everything that has to deal with healthcare and what is available to them. And over the years, as we mentioned earlier, Mile Bluff has grown into more than just a hospital. So a couple of years ago, we decided, National Hospital Week, the name itself doesn't really reflect what Mile Bluff is entirely. So we thought, why don't we create Mile Bluff Celebration Week to celebrate not just the hospital staff, but the staff at all of our locations and all of our facilities. So this year, like we were talking about, we've been celebrating 125 years, and we really wanted to focus on the history and also the roots of where we started back in 1893 with Dr. Hess. But not only that, but to thank the community for their support of rural healthcare in the community for all these years, and really for choosing Mile Bluff for their care. But equally important, we wanted to thank our employees for all their hard work and dedication, because certainly, together, it's a great team that we have here at Mile Bluff. And with everybody at all the locations, we can certainly deliver compassionate, progressive care, not only today, but always. And that continues. And kind of the cool thing, looking back on the history, even when we opened the doors here in 1981 at Mile Bluff Medical Center at our current location, there was just over 200 employees at that time. We now employ over 750.
Wow.
And of the original 200, we still have, including Natty here, at least 15 that are still here with us at Mile Bluff over 37 years later. So that's impressive to have that dedication from our employees.
Absolutely.
For the decades.
There's some loyalty to the community and to this center, which is awesome. It kind of talks about, it kind of is a testament to the quality of the work experience and the care that's given here. So Jim O'Keefe, President and CEO, here at last after how many years? We finally get you on the show. So I believe, this is the first time on your program, so welcome.
Thank you.
Can you give viewers just a quick idea of your background in the medical field and what brought you to Mile Bluff Medical Center?
Sure. So I have been here 13 years,
Okay.
and that's a steep, Mile Bluff is steep in the history of people coming and staying and really appreciating and growing in their career here. For me, I grew up in Milwaukee. I'm a Milwaukee kid. So I've been in Wisconsin, and I've been in the Midwest all my career. I started out, got my my undergraduate degree from University of Wisconsin Oshkosh back in the 1980s, and started in healthcare pretty quickly after that in Minnesota. And so since then, I've gotten an MBA. And prior to coming here, I was in Indiana, and learned of Mile Bluff becoming available, and Mile Bluff had has such a great reputation around the state in terms of one of the larger independent organizations in terms of medical group and reputation, and it intrigued me to come here and apply, and it gave Elaine and I a chance to come back home, and so we just love it. It's great to be here.
Very nice, very nice. We got to take a short break, but Jim, we're going to come back to you, I think, in the next segment. Don't go away. There's more on Wisconsin Doctors here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, so stick around. One 125 years is no small milestone for any organization, and that is what Mile Bluff Medical Center is celebrating this year, and that is what we are discussing here today on Wisconsin Doctors. And Natty Kranz, first time on the program today, thank you for being with us. I want to make sure that we give you some time to talk about your experience, because you've been with Mile Bluff now for over 50 years. Congratulations on it. That really truly is a milestone. Tell us about some of the roles that you have filled here at Mile Bluff over the years.
Well, if we started at the beginning, I started as a nursing assistant.
Okay.
That's when I realized that nursing was the right thing for me to do. From there, I went to nursing school and continued to work weekends at the nursing home. It's the part that I worked in the buildings that we were just talking about downtown. And came back as an RN in 1972. And have had many roles in the meantime. Like I've been a staff development coordinator, patient care coordinator, started some programs. I was actually the director of nursing once upon a time, but I'm more comfortable in the role of the charge nurse and staff nurse, and have worked in OB and the emergency room, the operating room. When people were on vacation, I took their time worked their time in those departments. So I have a pretty good view of the facility as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And you must have seen so many changes in your time, and, more than anyone could possibly even imagine. What are some of the big milestones you remember about Mile Bluff? I mean, you were here before this building was here.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other big milestones that you remember?
When I was first a nurse, we had 3 physicians. And those physicians took call every 3rd day. They did not stay in the building at night. So as nurses were dealing with things, they had to call that physician at home.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have cell phones and things like that. So, I mean, there were just other, yeah, really. So there were just technology issues. We would, now we've seen so much growth in practitioners, specialists coming here, all the staff and specialty departments that we have. So all of those are great assets. I remember the days when we had critical patients, and we would have to take them in an ambulance to another facility if that care was needed. And then Dr. Birnbaum created the mobile ICU, the bus we called it. He brought intensive care to us to pick up a patient, but that was 2 hours from the time we'd call them.
Right.
There were no medical helicopters or any of the other technologies that we have right now either. So.
Wow, come such a long way. And Jim O'Keefe, people sometimes talk about healthcare as being in a constant climate of change, or a climate of constant change, rather. Where do you think we're headed, both as a nation and then as a rural medical center, when it comes to healthcare?
So Natty kind of talked about technology and how it's changed over the years. I mean, that's the probably number one driver that we see in healthcare. Things are becoming, first of all, technology is becoming such fast pace and changes, and allowing us to better diagnose and better treat patients, and do it now on an outpatient basis rather than an inpatient. So there's a big push that way, both here and nationally, and I see that continuing to change. In the rural, that technology will probably allow us to bring specialty closer to home for people. And for us, really, it's all about access. And we need to be there to give people access. So that's really important to us. The other thing that I think we see a great deal of is consumerism. The patients taking a more active role in their care. They're understanding, they gain knowledge, and they want to work with the doctor and the caregivers to take care of themselves.
Yes, yes, lots of good changes there. And you know, speaking of changes, and you talked about technology and things like that, Dr. Bjelland, I know that you're the sort of the lead recruiter here for medical staff members. Has the recruiting process changed, or what types of professionals you're looking for specifically changed in the last 30 years or the last 125 years?
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of specialization that has occurred over time has been tremendous. Even thinking back at Dr. Griffin coming out as a military surgeon and coming here, but Jack Strong and other people being able to be in the neophyte stages of family practice, and then actually to Keith and Nancy Ness and their role as being family physicians, one of the first ones established here to be able to recruit. And really people who could kind of do everything, and now we have things where it's almost so difficult just because of the new technologies and other things to keep ahead of things, that now we have some narrowing of focus, and that means we need more people. I describe it sometimes as a puzzle where we have to have all the pieces together so that we can really take care of people throughout their lifespan and to really be able to provide all of their community-based primary care needs. So it's really changed how we recruit, who we recruit for, and the number of physicians. Natty was talking about 3. We have over 50 health professionals, physicians, and advanced practice clinicians on our staff with 50 visiting specialists. So our numbers have really grown.
We got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about how Mile Bluff has really been a strong part of this community over the last 125 years. Don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Doctors. Mile Bluff Medical Center had its humble beginnings here in Juneau County 125 years ago, and I've been really excited to talk about some of the history and sort of where we're going, not just in terms of Mile Bluff, but in terms of rural healthcare and national healthcare in general. Jim, I want to make sure I ask you this. Mile Bluff continues to have a very strong connection here in this community. What do you think has allowed that to happen over the years?
Well, it's pretty simple. We're a community-owned and community organization. Been here, we're independent, we make our own decisions, which we think has allowed us to stay focused on the community and not on other matters that sometimes happen when you're part of a larger organization. So it's one of the key things that I think has allowed us to really stay committed to our communities.
And Natty, you've gotten the opportunity to be a part of Mile Bluff for a long time now. What has being a part of Mile Bluff for the past 50 years meant to you and your family?
Well, if we go way back, I was actually born at Mile Bluff. My kids were, my family, doctors here.
That's where the 50 years
So-
starts.
Thank you, thank
Started
you.
really young.
Yes, born and raised here.
Very good, very good.
So, yeah, my family has received health care here, and I think of the whole community as my family in the long run.
Did you ever see yourself retiring?
I might.
Do you see us letting her?
I don't think you can take the nurse out of a person, so
That's
I'll have
true.
to come back and volunteer or something,
Yeah.
maybe when that happens.
There's no just kind of cutting you off
Not
cold
really.
turkey from this place.
No,
so
not
that's
right
awesome.
now.
So I'm going to jump back to Travis real quick here. You're not off the hook yet here. So, you know, we've talked a lot about the changes that have happened in Mile Bluff and in healthcare in general. Here at Mile Bluff, what do you think has really stayed the same?
Well, as we've been talking about the 125 years, I mean, it's evident that healthcare is always changing. The needs of the community are always changing. But even going back to Dr. Hess, you know, in 1893 and throughout his career to today, the leaders of Mile Bluff have always been forward-focused and really the reacting and, you know, looking at the needs of the community and in healthcare and what can we do to better the community and what's needed. And so we're always keeping our, you know, the patient's needs in the front of mind, and they're really still a focus. They've always been over the 125 years. Along with even the compassion that Dr. Hess had for his patients, that compassion can still be felt here with the care you get at Mile Bluff, just today and always.
That's very awesome. Patient-centered and community-centered. So, Jim, this is kind of the thing that hopefully is going to bring everything together, tie it up into a nice, neat little package. What do you think truly sets Mile Bluff Medical Center apart?
Exceptional people. I really do believe that. We have great staff, great providers, great nurses, people who come and stay here and are committed to their professions and do a great job. You know, and I also would think it's our drive to be the best and to really take care of our community and our friends and neighbors.
Very good. Very good. So many cool things, so much great history here. There's a lot to talk about, and you know, I'm just wondering if I'm going to just kind of put everybody on the spot here for a minute. And some of you have been here longer than others, but I'm wondering if each of you can kind of give me your favorite memory. Just, you know, a quick little 20-second thing of your favorite memory here personally of being here at Mile Bluff. Travis, let's start with you.
Well, I've only been with Mile Bluff for 5 years, but I was born and raised in Boston, so it's
Okay.
just nice to be a part of the community. And really, when I got the job here in the public relations department, still probably one of the best days, moving on from a radio career into public relations over here at the hospital. And still, it's probably my favorite memory, just making that career change to be a part of this team and this family.
Dr. Bjelland.
Oh, I have so many, but one I was thinking of, because I've had the privilege of being involved with many deliveries. Not only my own daughter delivered here with Sharon Rosine, who had worked here for many, many years and is a great nurse. But one of the things I was remembering was sitting at a dance recital and looking at all the names of the children that I had had the privilege of being part of their delivery and their families. And really, that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what I envision family medicine being about, is having that very special opportunity to be part of people's lives. And those children, and now unfortunately, or fortunately, all of those kids have grown up. You know how that is, Ned,
do.
right? And
I
they're
do.
part of our community as
Right.
well, and have gone on to do great things, a lot of them. So it's a
Wow.
wonderful privilege.
That's awesome. Natty, what about you?
Well, I've had a couple of children named after me.
Oh,
They
wow.
have, yes, their first names are Natalie, not Nat, not Natty, but they actually were named for me. One had something to do with an intervention in a delivery that she felt that was very important to her.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
one.
That is special. That is
A
special.
lot of special memories, actually.
Jim, what about you?
Well, I have a lot of fun memories, and some of them surround working with the team here and just the fun that we've had. We have fun squad, things that just try to keep us together as a family and good. I mean, I've dressed in a tutu and danced and done some of the craziest stuff. Yeah, we have photos. So, but it's some of that, but it's also just the pride in hearing people tell their stories about what we've done for them. And,
I
just
want to
some
move
great
here
memories.
now.
Welcome, come on.
Welcome.
Sure.
It's a great place to live as well.
Jim O'Keefe, Natty Kranz, Dr. Timothy Bjelland, and Travis Baumgartner, thank you so much for joining with us today. And thank you to all of our viewers. We're Wisconsin doctors, and from all of us here at Wisconsin 57 and Mile Bluff, we invite you to live longer, live better for the next 125 years. We'll see you next time.